I see this a lot these days with people that I hire, younger people that I hire.
Yep.
There's always some expectation to, if you are set on wanting to live in this country
Yep.
or any other country for that matter, you will do whatever it takes. And I'd say it was a luck of the draw. That's probably the only place I would say I got really lucky. You know, time is precious, right? And at the same time, I think I've learned this the hard way. In fact, didn't know anything until I got to the interview, pays the bills, and then some. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
There's a reason, again, why they say an overnight success is
Yep.
it's easier to make new friends and
Yeah.
have a social circle to lean on when you're younger. And it's a very lonely city. Much harder to make friends in the workplace and be able to maintain those friendships outside of the 9 to 5.
In this episode, we get to meet Alishba, who is a director in the automotive and corporate events field.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alishba.
problem.
Really appreciate your time.
Not a
So
problem.
it would be good for our viewers to then probably just get an intro of yourself. So yourself, what you do.
Sure. My name's Alishba, and by way of job title,
Yeah.
I'm divisional director or divisional MD
Yeah.
or the largest privately owned events company in the world.
Nice.
And I look after their automotive division, both electric vehicles and autonomous cars.
And what was your journey and how did you get into corporate events?
That's a good question, right? So we're going back to 2013.
Yeah.
And I'd say it was a luck of the draw.
Yeah.
That's probably the only place I would say I got really lucky.
Yeah.
Because I had a short space of time
Yeah.
after finishing university in Oxford.
Yeah.
And I had about 3 months to find an employer that would sponsor my visa and keep me in the country.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Pakistan, so I'm sure you can appreciate it comes with its own set of challenges.
Right.
So yeah, I was very lucky, right time, right place,
Yeah.
perfect atmospheric conditions, as they say.
Yeah.
And I landed a position in events.
Yeah.
Started at the bottom as a conference producer.
Yep.
Not going to lie, I didn't know anything about the events industry at that time.
Right.
In fact, didn't know anything until I got to the interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest, as I say, is history. I worked my way up in the last 11 years, right from the bottom, a conference producer,
Yeah.
to where I'm at right now, which is looking after a team of about 26 people.
Wow. It's brilliant. What's been the hardest thing also, like coming into another country, coming from Pakistan? What would you say has been like the biggest challenge or the hardest thing for you?
I moved when I was quite close to my 30s,
Yep.
and you know, you come with preconceived ideas about living in another country, and of
Yep.
course you don't have the social network to support as well. I think
Yep.
from my experience, the hardest thing, oh gosh, I wouldn't use the word hardest thing, probably. I think the most challenging thing for me
Yep.
perhaps was being able to find a job within the short space of time that
Yep.
I had.
Yep.
And I'd back that up by saying that, yeah, and I'm sure most people know this as well, like if you were to, God forbid, lose your job in an uncertain environment like the one we're
Yep.
in right now, you have a very, very small window to find another employer
Right.
that will keep you in the country. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that most people probably struggle with, or makes them anxious, because it's a constant axe that is hanging over your head. So I'd probably say that more than anything else.
Yeah. Does that push you to go further, or would you say it's actually drowning? What would you say?
I think it puts you in a position that others wouldn't find themselves in.
Yep.
And I guess it depends from person to person, I'm sure, but if you are set on wanting to live in this country
Yep.
or any other country for that matter,
Uh-huh.
you will do whatever it takes and work the extra hour,
extra mile,
go
yeah.
the extra mile to make sure that you achieve what you're set out to achieve.
Was that the case for you though? Did
100%, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think during my time with my previous employer,
Uh-huh.
we did, of course, have a recessionary climate with the oil prices crashing, which is the space that I used to work previously.
Right.
And we were a company of 75 people. We went down to about 17.
Right.
Again, very fortunate to not be one that was cut in the multiple rounds of redundancies that we announced then.
Yeah.
So, you know, things worked out for me, but
Brilliant.
not for a lot of other people.
Yeah. In terms of the other side, sort of the positives. What would you say have been the positives thus far?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah.
Gosh, where do I start?
Uh-huh.
Right. So I think number one for me is being able to call another country home.
Yep.
And that is number one.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd probably say, and I think this is a little bit more difficult when you're older.
Yep.
It's easier to make new friends and
Yeah.
have a social circle to lean on when you're younger.
Correct.
But being able to do that when you're older is,
Really?
I feel, commendable. Yeah.
Interesting.
I,
Because I remember when I moved out to the Middle East, I found I didn't think age was an issue, but setting up a brand new place, having new friends, and calling that home was definitely something I just used to love.
yeah. But I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also say, like, depends where you are and
Yeah.
the kind of people you're around.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say this. London is a very lonely city, transitional city.
Yep.
People come and go all the time.
I just want to focus in on the social element. How was that? You said obviously London's a lonely place, and how did you find that challenge coming here as a young
so
person?
I think I was quite fortunate that I
Yeah.
went to university in this country, so
Yeah.
I knew a few people from university
Uh-huh.
that stayed on, and we continue to be friends to date.
Uh-huh.
But besides that, I think the nature of the companies that I worked in, you don't become friends with your colleagues outside of the office.
Yep.
And the higher up you go, there's a reason why they say it's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
And it's much harder
Uh-huh.
to make friends in the workplace and be able to maintain those friendships outside of the 9 to 5 when you're
100%.
higher up, right? So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
can be difficult.
Yeah.
But I think you and I both know it's about quality, not it's
Quantity.
not a numbers game.
100%
right?
all
When it comes to
about it,
friendships, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
What would be your key advice to people starting off in career? People like yourself, actually, who've been 5-10 years into career, actually making a complete change.
Yeah.
What have been sort of the key lessons that you've learned from personal and professional experience?
I think I'd probably say, and I see this a lot these days with people that I hire, younger people that I
Yep.
hire.
Yep.
There's always some expectation to be rewarded ahead of your time.
Yep.
There's always an expectation to be handed things on a plate.
Yep.
I feel like there's no substitute for hard work.
Yep.
And there's a lot more that will have to go into it if you're trying to carve a place for yourself in a country that's very, very competitive, in a city
Yeah.
that's very competitive, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a walk in the park. So, if you're looking to make a move to another country or
Yeah.
move sideways into another career or another vertical, then be
Yeah.
prepared to put the work in.
Put the work in, basically.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
There's a reason, again, why they say an overnight success is 5 years and 2 months.
Yeah.
Nothing happens overnight, but most people from the outside will think that things did happen overnight for somebody. It's never like that. So
That's interesting. I haven't heard that before. 5 years and 2 months. So to
it's
make
the
us
average overnight
Okay.
success, yes.
interesting. Yeah, no, that's good. That gives me some good insight.
And I'd probably be the first to say that
Yeah.
does apply to me.
Yeah.
Because at the 5-year mark is when I did kind of start to feel as though I was comfortable.
Yeah.
And other-
If you could do it all over again, what would your advice be to your younger self?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Well, younger is relative, right? I wasn't younger when I started doing this, but yeah, if I was to do it all over again, what would I tell myself? Gosh, one thing I'd tell myself is you shouldn't have to work every weekend. Things should be able to wait. You should be able to put things off until Monday. There's lots of times when I've worked every weekend to keep things on track, and I'll back it up by saying there will be times when you have to work outside of the 9 to 5 and outside the Monday to Friday, and that's okay. Yes, because time is precious, right? And at the same time, I think I've learned this the hard way. You have to kind of find what works for you from a work-life balance point of view as well. And again, like I said, my career is very important to me, but so is my personal life, and one shouldn't come at the expense of the other. So my advice to myself is prioritize your time, prioritize your personal life, because time it goes back to what I was saying previously as well, like finding the right set of friends to sort of hang out with outside of work, and being able to like prioritize other parts of your personal life as well. It's a lot more difficult than it would be if you were in your home country. So you have to put in the way that you have to put the work in for your career, you have to put the work in elsewhere
For your
as well,
social
right?
life, yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas-
100%. Yeah,
Really cool.
yeah.
Alishba, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
And yeah, looking forward to staying in touch.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.